What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today and welcome to Swedish Midsummer Carnage created by Hellmouth. This is a first track release by him. He says that he's had a lot of help from JV and I'm just flying across over the map right now and this already looks like so much fun. I'm not sure what it is about the Swedes creating really good looking tracks and tracks that I just want to play, but they're doing an amazing job. Like the corners look so disgustingly railable. It's unreal. Jumps look nice and smooth. You get nice and steezy on it. Fairly short track. Having a look at the track map, you'll see when I get onto the track itself. Not the longest of lap times, but I don't think that should take away from it whatsoever. And for a track release, a first track release, that is, it looks beautiful. I'm hoping it plays just as well. I'm going to be riding the Yamaha 450 today, just trying to get used to bikes again, preparing for the Supercross race, which is tonight at the time of me recording this, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Rightio, here we go then. First track release from Mr. Hellmouth. The Swedes always seem to do well in this game when it comes to releasing tracks. It looks like it's so pretty, just having a quick look around. Sounds like it's had a good amount of work or help from JV. I'm not sure if Hellmouth has come from another game, a track creating on another game and moved over to bikes. If so, then it's probably to be expected that he knows his way around how to build a track. If not, this is bloody impressive straight off the bat. Now, these, I mean, oh, it's just so floaty. Oh, god damn it, I'm going to have so much fun around here. Now, I was hoping the 450 wouldn't be overkill, and so far I've just bloody greased like the first 3 jumps. Let's go. Now, these ruts and berms as I was flying around, they are huge. They look so raidable, and if this community, if I know anything about this community, it's that they like going around corner as pinned as possible. So I feel like this is probably going to be one of them fan favourite tracks. It is released for free as well, so it's really nice to see we're still getting some good quality free tracks released, because that does seem to be an ongoing argument at the moment, is nobody's releasing free tracks anymore, but proof is in the pudding. You can see it right here. So that jump is the finish line. I think I can triple that entire thing. We go flying around to the right, step down, back into turn 1. That's a really nice smooth line there. Let me try some of these insides out rather than going outside every single lap. Nice smaller jump there, little split section. Let's go inside here. Oh, we step onto this, nice, and step off. Oh, it flows. It flows so well. I've got the erode on 1.2 today, so we'll see how it digs down. I can't imagine it'll be anything wild, you know. It should be fairly straightforward, especially when you're going into these like massive berms on the outsides of corners. The ruts really shouldn't affect you too much at all. Let's try and get this inside one as well, and then hopefully not wad myself over the finish line again. That boosts you to the moon. Okay, going to be very difficult to not watch yourself if you're doing what I do and just try whipping everything when you really don't know how far you should be jumping. Overall, a little finish line jump to the inside. One thing I just want to point out quickly that I think I've said in feedback on tracks in the past about how the ruts begin and end. Like, they're usually too like abrupt. Look how smooth the transition is here, going from flat ground to the start of this rut. It's just nice and slowly gradually builds it up, and then again as it exits, it just slowly forms back into a flat. It's no like sharp entrance and exit, which I personally really like. It really reminds me that it wouldn't have surprised me if this track was built in the MX Simulator track editor and then ported over to bikes. Just, you know how in Sim when you add like a radial gradient just to make the corners and it builds up nice and smoothly, smooth the edges off, it looks exactly like that. Now, I don't know Hellmouth's track making methods. I'm sure he hasn't done that. I'm just going off of previous knowledge and tracks that I've made in the past and how the ruts turn out and form. But I'm glad that he's got a very good mentor in JV. JV's been putting out some banging tracks over the last few years, and obviously we've got all the GP tracks to look forwards to coming up, starting on the 27th at the home race of Matterley. Hopefully I can show up to that one and fingers crossed do semi-well. Can I try tripling this? Oh, I've got to hit it a little bit faster. You know what? Screw it. I was going to go off the track anyway. Let's just turn around and go again. Let's stretch this bad boy out to the moon. Up and over and land that. Right, carry a bit more speed around the outside and not shut off as much as I did last time. Downside it. Lovely. Came up a tiny bit short, but it's fine. Well, he's done a very good job of rounding off the landings at least, so if you do come up a little bit short, it's not like you're getting sent to the Shadow Realm straight away. You kind of bounce off it, you can carry on riding. All round, though, this is bloody impressive. Only 2 or 3 laps deep. Really fun track. Interested to see what fast laps around here would be, because I feel like there's not a whole lot of room to really gain or lose time. If you're on the limit around the outside everywhere, that's kind of as fast as you can go, I'm guessing. I suppose the fastest bit's just going to be staying as low as you can as possible, trying to carry as much corner speed as you can, not jumping off the track like me, because I am having an L gamer moment. Obviously, just second day back on bikes for a week. Give me a little bit of slack. Let's talk about this Yamaha 450 bit then. So, you boys know that since the very drop of Beta 18 OEMs, everybody, or at least in the 450 class, everybody hopped over onto the Yamaha 450. Now, me being me and liking to be different, I thought, no, I'm not going to be a sheep, I'm not going to follow the crowd, I'm going to ride the Fantic, which worked for a while, I was enjoying it, and then I had an absolutely god-awful race at Houston, I believe, switched over to the KTM, where I was really enjoying it throughout the week, and then literally come race day, I hopped on the game about 30 minutes before the track was due to release. Couldn't go in a straight line to save my life, like couldn't go through a whoop section, couldn't do anything, so kind of hit the panic button, thought, you know what, let's try the Yamaha, let's see how it goes. And I quickly skimmed through all of the previous SX rounds that had been released, and within a handful of laps I'd beaten all of my lap times by about half a second plus. Now, I know that people are faster on other bikes. For example, Skills is absolutely whooping everyone's cheeks on the Fantic himself, so I know it's not a Fantic problem. However, I am a firm believer of different bikes suit different people and different riding styles. I know that Skills is quite a loose person when he rides. Can be a little bit erratic sometimes, you know, like wheeling the entirety of a whoop section and scrubbing everything as hard as possible. I think when I play this game, I'm always try and be a lot more smooth and controlled and really flow around the entirety of corners. I don't scrub super hard through rhythms, I just try and like soak the bike up by sitting down at the top of the jump and turning a tiny bit. And I think for me at least, the Yamaha's doing a good job. Now, this is really my second day of using it. The first day I used it was for Tampa Supercross race, and then I've been gone since then, so I'm just trying to learn it a little bit now. But one thing that I will say about the Yamaha, which I didn't feel like on the Fantic or the KTM, is I feel like I don't get many, or any at all, or many moments that I just have to kind of like scratch my head on. You know, I don't get any crashes or front end tucks or front end wobbles that I'm like, what did I do wrong there? How could I have saved that? Like the bike feels, you kind of get what you expect from the Yamaha, at least in my opinion so far. There's no weird and wonderful surprises waiting for you, and for me that's a big deal. I like my comfortability. I mean, I like running very consistent lap times, even though they're not the fastest lap times by any means. I'm probably a good second off of the top boys when it comes to being in the races. But I consider myself right now as like one of the best of the rest. So you've got the guys up front, you've got your Skills, you've got your like Ev moves, you've got your hurls and so on, and then I kind of seem to be just outside of that, but then just at the front of the other guys. I seem to be like a third or fourth place rider at the moment, which I think in years past I would be really upset about, but at this moment in time I'm actually genuinely happy, and I'm quite content getting thirds every single round, because my goal this year wasn't really to go and defend the title. Whilst it would have been lovely to do, I'm well aware that there are many people both more talented and more dedicated than I playing this game right now, so a top 3 for me is fine. You know, it gets me in like a good position for some prize money at the end of the year, which everyone loves. It's always nice being rewarded for showing up and trying to put in a decent performance week in and week out. And then with the 250 class, I would like to win 250s. Keegan's got the red plate at the moment by I think about 6 points. My first 2 rounds have been very lackluster, to say the least. I'm not sure what to put it down to. I don't know if it's a lack of time on a 250, trying to switch from a 450 over to a 250 in the same night, or it could even be due to the fact that the races are early in the morning for me. I know that I get to a certain point playing bikes throughout the day that my thumbs just don't do what my brain tells it to do anymore. So I have some really good laps throughout the main. I think I had the fastest lap time in the main at Tampa, but I only got 4th in the race because I was just making so many mistakes, so many crashes, and it would just be really weird things like forgetting what part of the track I'm on and like doubling out of the corner rather than tripling like I meant to. I think I went to do that 1 or 2 times before the whoops. You know how you triple before the whoop section on Tampa, and it's really important that you do so you get a good run. Sometimes my brain would just go, actually no, you're not tripping there, you're going to double instead for whatever reason, and then it costs me a whole lot of time. So I'm not sure, maybe I need to just start napping or taking or just sleeping a little bit in between EU or NA, or alternatively sleeping before EU and then staying up from that point. But yeah, my 250 races haven't been going too well, and I think another factor that kind of backs up the whole sleep thing is I've done really, really well in the heat races. You know, like got good starts, led from start to finish the whole way through, no real mistakes at all, or massive crashes that cost a bunch of time. And then as soon as you get into the main event, I'll get a good start again, but then a couple minutes in, I'll have a couple laps where my brain just stops working and I'll crash 2-3 times maybe, which then costs me a whole bunch of time. And then from that point, you're kind of constantly trying to fight to get back to where you were. You know, you're trying to have to push faster to catch up, which will then lead to more mistakes. Rather than if you just stayed on 2 wheels the whole time, you really wouldn't have to push as hard at all. So, I mean, let me... I'm going to try to triple this real quick, sorry. Let me cut myself off. Let's send that. Can I downside it? Oh, I overjumped it a little bit. But you know what? Front end took it like a champ. Fair play. And in terms of setup, right now, I'm going to plug Reaper Dog a little bit, so give him some more views. Go over and watch his video on this. I'm using his Yamaha 450 setup that he released on his channel, so go have a look for that. I'm not going to make my own video on what setup I'm using on this, because it's essentially just stealing his content, if that makes sense. But yeah, massive shout out to Reaper Dog for that. It's definitely not the fastest setup in terms of raw speed that I've ever used, but it's definitely very, very consistent, and at this point in time, consistency is really what I'm going for. Since I don't spend like multiple hours per day grinding the game to get all that muscle memory down, it's nice hopping on for 30 minutes or so a day just to sit down and record a video, and then obviously the couple hours that it takes to do aerial on a Friday. For me to have consistency in that short amount of playtime, I'm more than happy to rock that. So thank you very much, Reaper, for putting that out there for everybody to use. I am using it myself. Now, some of you might be confused about what I mean by a fast setup. I wouldn't be able to explain to you in terms of what options to change to make a setup faster. I just know in terms of feel. So for example, Jack on Look Creations, he sent me his setup, and I feel like an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. Like, it's so fast. But then obviously when you get into corners, it's a little bit harder to turn, and it's weird how different setups affect that kind of thing. I mean, on the Beta 17 bikes, I've done an RSG race on Redbud. I can't remember if it was the race version or the quali version from the Nations. But I was in a call with SD, and he was trying to help me with setups at all, and the difference between a few clicks is unreal, and it's something that I don't mess around with a lot, and I wish I had more knowledge on it. But he sent me one setup that I've never gone so fast in my life. Like, round the corner, bearing in mind the corners were fairly flat. They were quite, I mean, the corners on Redbud are quite like these ones, where there's no real rough going into them. They're very smooth. It's not like there's no hooks in them, just a nice flowy route all the way around the corner. And I was on the KTM 450 back then, and my god, my corner speed was disgusting. You could just hold the right throttle down pinned, lean the bike over, and you just wouldn't lose grip. It was so quick. But then alternatively, what you then have in corner speed, you then sacrifice on stability over braking bumps and things like that. So it's always a bit of give and take when it comes to suspensions. This one that I'm using from Reaper Doc, not only does it feel nice and pointed in the corners, when the rough comes in, it feels like it's still quite predictable in what the bike will do. You don't get as many of those really horrible front-end knives, or the bike suddenly going away from you that you can't save. And then a massive thing for me, which I was struggling at one point this year, but I think I've kind of got dialed now, touch wood, before I wad myself multiple times next main event, is whoops. No, whoops feel real. Oh my god, talking about front-end knifing. That was on me. I've created a really deep rut going into this corner, and you can't really see it because the shadows are so bad, but I got a bit too far inside of it and it just went in and yeeted me away. So, not setup's fault. That is a skill issue. I'll take full blame on that one. But yeah, whoops feel really, really good on this setup as well. So again, massive thank you for Reaper putting that out there to the public. Definitely go and give it a go if you haven't already, and go and give the man some love and some views. It's always like to see Reaper succeeding. He's a very, very nice man. If there's anyone in the community that deserves some love, it's definitely him. And someone else that deserves some love, Mr. Hellmouth. This track is actually incredible. I don't know how long it's taken you to make this. You've probably said it in your mods post. I read it last night when I downloaded it, and I haven't had a chance to go back and look at it this morning before recording this video. But JV, thank you very much for helping Mr. Hellmouth out. It's very nice getting another creator on board, and if this track is anything to go by, I think we are in for some very, very special tracks in the near future, both in terms of appearance and in terms of flow. You could ride any bike you want around this track. It would be no issue at all. I think they'd all go around it absolutely perfectly. Nice stretch things out on the two strokes. I imagine this would be a great two-stroke track when they release. Maybe on the e-bikes as well. Maybe I'll have to revisit it at some point. For you newer players to the game, this track is just ideal. You know, it's really nice, fairly easy. This is one of them tracks I think kind of reaches across to all skill levels, because the fast guys can kind of push it as hard as they want around here. The intermediates can just work on individual techniques, whether it's turning or staying low on jumps or just jump timing. And then the newbies, it's just kind of that step up from your forest or your club, you know, just that little advancement to make it a little bit more difficult than the stock tracks. And it's just really impressive stuff. I couldn't be happier. Hope you guys are enjoying this track as well. I know I'm a little bit late on playing it. Obviously, as I've said numerous times by now, I've been away, and it was typical that the mods website was down for about a week whilst I had to get a bunch of pre-recorded content up, so I had to be a little bit imaginative with Charlie, trying to do some 1v1 stuff. I hope you all enjoyed those sorts of videos. And then as soon as I go away, it's all up and running again, and we get 2 amazing track releases in this and Fox Hills by iShot 2-Pack. But that'll do it from me. Incredible stuff. I would give literally like a 9 out of 10. I think the only way you can improve this is just that tiniest bit of roughness, but maybe that wouldn't 100% suit the style of track that he was going for. So either way, I respect his creative decisions and artistic decision to make the track how he wants to. And that'll do it from me. I'm going to love you and leave you. If you have enjoyed this video, as always, if I can ask you to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, I would greatly appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the day, wherever you guys are up to, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's video. Peace.